नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय भारत एंड वेलकम टू डेव टॉक्स। दिस इज आदि अचिंत। मेरे साथ हैं मिस्टर तिलक देवासर। एज यू कैन सी, हम जानने की कोशिश करेंगे यार, वेयर इज दिस हीरा मंडी जिसको हम बोलते हैं ना, पाकिस्तान, वेयर इज इट गोइंग? क्या हो रहा है इसके साथ? ये क्या करने की कोशिश कर रहा है? मतलब ईरान वॉर, ईरान तो ठुक रहा है, बीच में पाकिस्तान ऐसे ही ठुक जाता है, बोलता है ना, अकम्पनीमेंट ऑफ एवरीथिंग। फर्स्टली सर, नमस्कार, वेलकम टू द शो।
Thank you, Adi. Thank you for having me over again. Always a pleasure to be with you.
सर, सो यू एंड आई, हमने एक बात करी थी अबाउट द सऊदी पाकिस्तान डिफेंस पार्टनरशिप, ठीक है? And you had said कि नहीं यार, there is not much, it's all just bump, hukum, and when it comes to the test it will not work. It has come to the test, sir. क्या होने वाला है आगे? Will Pakistan now act on the Saudi Arabian side, or
You see, if you look at it, the Defense Pact, apne aap, in itself, was a non-starter. Simply because Pakistan pretensions of कि हम nuclear umbrella Saudi Arabia को दे रहे हैं is effective only against another nuclear state. You cannot use or threaten to use your nuclear weapons against a conventional attack. That is point number one. Point number two, Saudi Arabia already has a mutual defense pact with the United States. So what is it that Saudi Arabia was looking for, जो पाकिस्तान उनको दे सकता है? Pakistan was quite clear in its mind that it cannot be against Iran. It can be against Israel. Achha, then they got further messed up when they became part of the Gaza Peace Force, which means that you go and put your forces in Gaza. And then Israel said, nothing, we don't want the Pakistanis. So the feeling Pakistan में ये थी कि भाई हम ये Israel के खिलाफ अगर Saudi Arabia, because it happened, the timing, you see, the timing was immediately after Israel's attack on Doha. You know, they targeted some Hamas people in Doha. So immediately after that, this was a sign. So this was the implication. Now, if Saudi Arabia pushes the button and says, beta, you come and help me against Iran, because Iran has attacked it, not once, but a couple of times, you know, now even the oil refinery they've attacked. Now, since Iran has attacked them and Saudi Arabia says, well, please come to my rescue, and you attack Iran from the, from your side, there is no way Pakistan can fulfill this. There is also no way it can decline Saudi Arabia. See, financially, it is so dependent on Saudis. Saudis can pull out $3 billion and Pakistan's economy reserves go crashing. IMF will pull out. The IMF loan is contingent on Pakistan having a certain minimum foreign exchange reserve, which includes 3 billion of Saudi Arabia, 3 billion of UAE. अगर ये सऊदी से पंगा लेंगे तो सऊदी कहेंगे बेटा वापस करो जरा. What does Pakistan do then? Then there are about, I don't know, 4 or 5 million Pakistani workers in Saudi Arabia and UAE whose remittances sustain Pakistan's economy. They can't afford to take a panga there. But can they afford to take a panga with their own Shias? 20-25% of Shias in Pakistan, if they go against Iran. So, you know, Pakistan, since its creation, has tried to be very smart. He had run with the hare and hunt with the hound. It has always done that. But now the chickens have come home to roost. Which way do they go? वो भागा भागा 2 बारी तो जा चुका है. Shehbaz Sharif, then the army chief went pleading with the Saudis, hey, don't push us to come to your support because हम मारे जाएंगे. Saudi says, how does it matter to me? You've signed an agreement. Achha, now a new twist I've heard onto this. Pakis are saying कि ये agreement है, ये pact नहीं है. You know, अगर pact होता, can you imagine? Can you imagine the trying to be too clever by half? You know, agreement is not so strong as a pact. If he had a pact, then it would be binding. अब ये binding नहीं है. अरे बेटा binding नहीं है तो फिर क्या है? So, you know, they are in a very tight jam. Now, they have opened up the Afghan front. A lot of people are speculating that this Afghan front, raising the stakes in the Afghan front is basically to tell the Saudis, look, we are committed on internal security. We are committed against Afghanistan. We are committed against India. We do not have spare forces to send to you, much as we would like to. Except that the Afghans are no pushover. I mean, आप 400 बंदे अफगान के मार दो, and you expect that the Afghans will roll over and play dead.
वो भी सर, why would you they hit Kabul and Kandahar? यार पागल हो गए यार.
No, they're just trying to show the Saudis how deeply embroiled they are. And as usual, bad targeting, they missed all the targets. Their fighter pilots are so cockeyed that they can't hit their target. What they talked about, precision targeting, like this intelligence-based operations, precision targeting. What bakwas here? I mean, I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt that they did not deliberately target this hospital. Because if they've deliberately targeted a hospital, then it's a war crime here. It's an international war crime. The UN is going to be looking at it. They'll get into further trouble. That you've done this deliberately, because a hospital, in even all the Geneva Conventions, hospitals, people, prisoners, etc., are not to be targeted. And you have done this.
And they're not Israelis who can get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. They have an uncle like the United States.
They don't have that Israelis that they can get away with it.
The third has come up. You heard the statement of Tulsi Gabbard the other day. Tulsi Gabbard saying that Pakistan is developing ICBMs that can reach the United States. Now, if you look at President Trump's speech on 28th of February, the three elements that he mentioned about Iran, building nuclear weapons, spreading terrorism, and missiles, they fit Pakistan completely, because Pakistan is already a nuclear weapon state. And now they've confirmed it's building ICBMs. And Osama bin Laden to Abbottabad mein mila tha. They are completely terrorist central. So instead of Iran, the United States should actually have been targeting Pakistan. So this is another front that has opened up. How do they get out of this? Will anybody believe that they're not building ICBMs?
Sir, when you look at this situation, Pakistan की, इसके अंदर, I mean, I was talking to you about Kabul and Kandahar, दो separate power centers. I mean, अकानी के साथ जो तुम्हारा setting meeting था, तुमने वो भी, you just thrown it out of the window. Why would you do something like that? I mean, यार war में भी एक दरवाजा खुला रखते हैं, या थोड़ी बात बूत हो जाए, कुछ ठंडा हो जाए. इन्होंने तो सब बंद कर दिया है.
You see, here in Kandahar, I think they were taking a leaf from Israel's book and trying for regime change कि Hebatullah को target करो. Get rid of the top Taliban leadership, and then we can talk to people who are in Kabul. I think that was the intention. But they don't have the intelligence. Despite their intelligence-based operations, they don't have the intelligence to know where Hebatullah is and how do you target him. So again, they've fallen between several stools. And I'm not sure what targets actually they hit in Kandahar. Perhaps no civilian targets were hit like they were hit in Kabul. But if you do want to talk to people in government rather than the spiritual or the ideological leadership in Kandahar, then you will not attack Kabul. You will focus all your energies on Kandahar. Now in Kabul, I think Sultan Shaheen was Bataki, who said clearly the time for talks is over. There will be no talks. They made it categorical.
So yesterday, Sirajuddin Haqqani gave a statement. उसने यही बोला है कि भाई साहब, people in Pakistan, please tell your government to stop doing this because इसका harm तुमको ही होगा.
Yeah, exactly. Because they will not forget. Not only that, the people, the Pashtuns especially, are going to tell the Taliban, यार तुम तो इतने बड़े बनते थे, nationalist हो, ये हो, वो हो, अब तुम्हारे पे 400 बंदा मार के चला गया है, and what the hell are you doing about it? Taliban are very sensitive to this kind of a thing, that they can't afford to be seen as weak. They can't afford to be seen as not taking revenge when they have been bombed. 400 of their people have been bombed. So I don't. I mean, I can't fail to understand Pakistan's targeting, except the telling the Saudis, "Dekho, we are going to now wait for a reaction from the Afghans, and so we can't commit any forces on your side." But the Saudis are not fools. They know exactly what Pakistan is. And look at the IMF. The IMF also did not agree to this 1 billion tranche.
No, this is a serious. It
Brother,
looks pretty.
it
Please, sir.
what Pakistan did was they increased petrol levy by 55 rupees. Next week they said we will absorb the cap, $23 billion or something, 23 billion rupees. IMF is saying, यार ये कर क्या रहे हो तुम? How can you do this? Your FBR collection of taxes is going down, and you are giving further subsidies. Then don't expect any loan from us. So you'll find today they were supposed to review the weekly review of fuel price hikes, and some people who think that fuel will go up by in 3 digits
Jeez.
because they can't manage the fuel increase. The problem with fuel and the IMF. Can you imagine if the fuel price goes up by another 100 rupees? Or the government absorbs the shock. You see, initially the fuel prices were when it was $70 a barrel. Today it's hovering at the range of $110, $120 a barrel. And Pakistan, because it has not invested in infrastructure, they need at least 2 tankers every day. They don't have large storage capacity or refining capacity for that. They can't buy in bulk like India can. We can probably store 30 million barrels of oil. They can't. They need 2 ships every day to come into Karachi port and for refining purposes. Now, they've got 1 ship through the Strait of Hormuz. अगले हफ्ते क्या करेंगे? They've asked Saudis to send a ship via the Red Sea. The cost of that is going to go up because it's a much longer route. And now with what has been happening today in Iran and in Qatar, so Pakistan by the end of this week or by next week is going to have a serious oil problem. And this has come at a time, Adi, harvesting is due. There'll be a requirement of diesel. And then in June, they have to sow the cotton crop, which means they need fertilizer. So you put all this thing together and take an overview. तो बड़ा ही मुश्किल लग रहा है मुझे पाकिस्तान का क्या करेंगे फिर सऊदी की बात मानेंगे तो and the interesting thing, orders have been given to Pak refineries to focus on what? Jet fuel for fighters and diesel. This is what they are scared about. Shortage of jet fuel and diesel, of course, is for agriculture. But jet fuel for fighters at this time, so you can, come to your own conclusion. What are they going to be focusing on?
What do you think is their plans, sir? Because they're trying to Afghanistan se bhi ye log this thing, and there's a lot of information coming out with regards to their plans with India also. कुछ ना कुछ यहाँ पे भी करना है, get something going here, and not because of anything else, because Afghanistan के साथ the war is not giving him that kind of edge in terms of the unification in Pakistan. So what I'm hearing is that
Yeah, go ahead.
No, what I'm hearing is that because that unification factor जो पाकिस्तान के अंदर that happens only that only happens with the war with India or some issue or some fracas with India.
You see, 31 million is the population of Pashtuns in Pakistan.
Yeah.
They cannot be happy with your killing Pashtuns in Afghanistan for no real reason. सबको मालूम है कि that Pakistan, by choice and deliberately is focusing on the Afghan end of the TTP issue. They're not focusing on the Pakistan end. अरे भाई प्रॉब्लम पाकिस्तान में है, ये पाकिस्तानी है, टीटीपी है जो पाकिस्तानी है. ओके, यू से दे हैव सेंचुरीज, बट बंदे तो यहाँ पर है ना. सेंचुरीज हैं, यू हैव फेंस्ड द डोर एंड लाइन, फिर व्हाट इज योर प्रॉब्लम? बंदे तो यहाँ पर हैं, यहाँ पर ये कर नहीं पा रहे. You know, can you imagine the DG ISPR in his press conference in January had said in 2025 they carried out 75,000 intelligence-based operations. That roughly works out to 200 IBO operations per day. Can you imagine any army in the world carrying out 200 operations for internal security? And what is the result? With this kind of saturation operations, you should have wiped out terrorism, yeah? They said they managed to kill, this is their figures, I'm not sure how far they are true, they managed to kill 2,500 militants. That means almost 30 operations to kill one militant. I mean, ये तो आपके आर्मी की कैपेबिलिटी है और आपकी इंटेलिजेंस की कैपेबिलिटी है. So they realize they can't fight the TTP. So easier option is आप अफगानिस्तान को blame करो, focus on the Afghan end, create tension between the two countries, and then claim to the world कि देखो हमारे साथ ये अफगान का प्रॉब्लम आ, वो टेररिज्म कर रहे हैं. So, you know, I somehow think that, you know, Pakistan Army always has thought tactically. Kabhi bhi since 47, they have not thought strategically. And, you know, this cheap cleverness, क्या इसके साथ भी कर सकते हैं, उसके साथ भी कर सकते हैं, वो भी कर जाएगा, उसको भी बेवकूफ बना देंगे. नहीं होता. You cannot sustain, you can't make a fool of all the people all the time.
All the time. They think they can.
They think they can. ये और भी बेवकूफी है. This is the Punjabi hubris कि बाकी सारे बंदे बेवकूफ हैं, मैं ही सियाना बंदा है. You know, that kind of a thing. So now from all sides, and especially I think this US statement is really going to rattle them. When you link it to what President Trump said on February 28th. And then Iran is just, you see, Iran is targeting infrastructure in the Gulf. अब पाकिस्तान में कितना infrastructure है? अच्छा, Chinese are, their only hope was Chinese. And Chinese are now telling them, you know, if you take a पंगा with Iran, all the infrastructure जो हमने बनवाया है, all the power plants, the road, everything, Iran is going to target those. And China and Iran have close relationship. So, you know, it is really between a rock and a hard place. And then, as I mentioned, the economic situation, in 2 weeks' time, Aadi, if you do a show in 2 or 3 weeks' time, you will find how terrible the economic situation is.
Sir, you know, when you see these monkeys actually jumping around with these terrorists nowadays, इधर उधर, they've double crossed everybody even now. America के साथ there is enough OSINT to come out and say that they've been sending weapons to Iran from China, from their territory. China के साथ double cross कर रहा है to a point where Chinese state security firm has come out and said, boss, we can't live in Afghanistan anymore. The threats are just too high. The Chinese have withdrawn from there. So they've double crossed America. They've double crossed China. They've double crossed America for China, and they've double crossed China for America. And this has just happened in the past 3 months. So previously Pakistan used to do this. ये 20 साल में करता था. Slowly. What he used to do in 20 years, he's done it in 3 months.
And he's also fooling its own army. You see, to keep the army behind Asim Munir, they are selling to their forces that, look, we're getting a deal with Saudi Arabia. Over a period of 2 years, we will circulate, and over 1 lakh army personnel, of 50,000 to 75,000 army personnel will go to Saudi Arabia. You will be paid in dollars. You can come back, you can save a lot of money, buy a plot, build a house. So for the younger officers, you know, captains and majors, this is a huge thing. But can you imagine actually sending and deploying them. Sending a battalion is one thing. Sending more than that to fight against Iran and to protect Saudi Arabia, can you imagine the implications of that? But they're trying to keep the army with him. This is Asim Munir trying to keep the army with him by giving this carrot to the forces. कि भी आपके तो बल्ले बल्ले होने वाले हैं, अब डॉलर ही डॉलर आने वाले हैं. How do they think that everybody else is a fool?
The same is with I mean, with the inside part. If you look at it, the way that they're telling everybody about the कि जी अभी देखो बस ईरान का तो हम साथ में खड़े हैं, ईरान के हम एकदम साथ में खड़े हैं, हम ये हैं, हम वो हैं, we are absolutely standing with you, and सब कुछ, all that nonsense is happening. And
Yeah,
at the back end, what are they doing to Iran?
And not only that, Adi, if you know that advisor to the Prime Minister, Musharraf Zaidi, he had come up with this statement in that we will always be with Saudis. So again, playing both sides, Saudis and the Iranians. But I think both the Saudis and the Iranians have seen through Pakistan over the years. They know exactly, what these guys are like. So they're going to come crashing down.
इनका जो their social structure is based on doing this jihad and all that nonsense. They've kept that people riled up with jihad और ये सब चीजें कि भैया हम कश्मीर में लड़ रहे हैं, अभी यहाँ लड़ रहे हैं, अभी वहाँ लड़ रहे हैं, अभी यहाँ लड़ रहे हैं, अभी वहाँ लड़ रहे हैं. Now they're trying to say भैया हमारा देखो पश्तून बड़े वो कर रहे हैं, and they're now starting to abuse the Pashtuns openly on the television कि तुम तो नमक हराम हो, तुम ये हो, तुम वो हो.
And that horrendous, video, अच्छा जी, तुम तो तंदूर रोटी लड़ते भी हो, that अच्छा जी, which came out about 15 days ago.
Yeah.
And yesterday I was seeing on Amin Mir's program, the DG ISPR, saying, all Afghans wear salwar kameez and they are terrorists. Are yaar, 90% of your population wears salwar kameez. He was saying, how do we distinguish? वो terrorist uniform में नहीं है, वो सलवार कमीज पहनते हैं, सारी terrorists हैं. You are painting your national dress, especially with reference to the Pashtuns, as being terrorists. So this level of racial profiling and racial hatred, which is being propagated by the Punjabi against the Pashtuns, is now reaching dangerous levels.
इनका सर जो now I heard them saying तुमने नमक हरामी करी है हमारे साथ. अच्छा ठीक है. फजलुर रहमान the other day came out and said jihad. कि भाई मेरे यहाँ पर 5 लाख लोगों को जिहाद. Then there was a Maulvi in Afghanistan who came out and said भैया jihad against Pakistan. I was quite shocked. I'm like, यार Maulvi declaring jihad, well, I don't know, it doesn't work. Of course Afghanistan has kind of played it down. But ये जो religious war की तरफ, which Pakistan seems to be going, and in the interim, they're also crushing the Shias inside their community. In the POGB region, they have arrested Awami Action Committee, almost 13, 14 of the top chaps, which they never touched. उनको उठा के अंदर फेंक दिया इन लोगों ने. So why are they playing with Islam of all the things, sir? What do you think is their plan?
You see, earlier, I think it's on shows, maybe a year or two ago, you see, Noor Wali Masood, the TTP chief, had made this point very clearly. He said, देखो हमें जो सिखाया है लड़ना और जो हमने आप तालीम हासिल की है, वो तो आपके मदरसों ने की है. आप ही के पाकिस्तानी उलेमा taught us what is jihad, कहाँ जाना चाहिए, कैसे लड़ना चाहिए. अब आप कहते हो कि वो ठीक था जब तक अफगानिस्तान में था. पाकिस्तान में जिहाद अलाउड नहीं है, तो हमें बताओ क्यों? क्योंकि पाकिस्तान तो इज नॉट एन इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक. इसमें इस्लामी चीज क्या है? So then Pakistan came up with this argument कि jihad can be declared only by a state. individuals cannot declare jihad. अच्छा, हालांकि जैश-ए-मोहम्मद, this fellow, who's the Jaish chief? Masood Azhar. His volume, massive thesis on how, when, why individuals and under what conditions individuals can declare jihad. अच्छा, leave that aside. So Noor Wali Masood said, fine, we are a state. हमारी एक सेंट्रल शूरा है, हमारी कमीशंस हैं, हमारी मिनिस्ट्रीज हैं, हमारे प्रोविंसेस हैं. We have 11 provinces. 2 in Punjab, 2 in Balochistan, in GB, and KPK and FATA mein to of course hain. He said, we are a riyasat. We have declared jihad. Now tell us what is wrong with that. So Pakistani ulemas have not been able to rebut the argument of the TTP कि आप रियासत हो and you are justified to declare jihad. So how do they counter this? I think one of the reasons why Munir went and met the Shia clerics 2 days ago was precisely for this factor, to preparing them that they will then now declare, if they have to fight against Iran, they will have to declare jihad against Iran. Otherwise, how else can they justify to their own army, why are we attacking another brotherly country? Iran is no terrorist in Pakistan. You can use that by saying TTP. But how do you justify a war against Iran? So he met these Shia Maulanas and tried to convey, I don't know what was actually discussed. A lot of what the media reported was not what was actually discussed. Because they are also wondering that what is it that they can do, that if push comes to shove, they actually have to fight with Iran. They will need the support of the Shia clerics to keep the Shias in Pakistan quiet. Otherwise, if the Shias in Pakistan go on the rampage, then Gilgit-Baltistan, places like Jang, places like Karachi, will be up in flames very quickly.
But
you know
by
what
picking
happened?
up these,
Sorry?
by picking up these people, how do you keep it calm?
No, so that they can go back to their mosques and areas and tell the Shia population कि नहीं भी जो कर रही है वो पाकिस्तान के मुफाद में है, that kind of a thing.
Software
Not
update
that
kar
people
do.
are going to, people are going to listen to them, but what else can they do? 20 to 30% of population is a huge chunk.
I think it's a little more than that, sir.
Well, this is what the statistics being quoted in the media are. It could well be more.
Because in Pakistan, they go and get their names changed and that card mein utna naam change kara lete hain so that they can not be called a Shia and not be wajibul qatl.
Yeah.
That is pretty this thing. Sir, last night, how do you think the military is kind of holding up? How long will they tolerate this monkey sitting in the basket there? Because they go whatever said and done, Pakistan before Asim Munir knew its boundaries not with India ever. हमारे साथ तो कभी भी boundary इन्होंने रखी नहीं है. But it knew its boundary. Middle East में मेरी ये boundary है, अमेरिका में मेरी ये boundary है, चाइना में मेरी ये boundary. It never breached that. अब तो चाइना के अगेंस्ट में काम कर रहे हैं खुले में, अफगानिस्तान के अगेंस्ट में कर रहे हैं, ईरान के अगेंस्ट. They become very belligerent about what they're doing. They did all sorts of rubbish in Bangladesh. So how is the military going to, will they react? Firstly,
you see, I feel that Asim Munir is getting desperate. He is lost or he is losing control. He's losing control over the army. He's losing control over the economy. He's losing control over foreign policy. What does he do? You become more and more belligerent. And you are right. The ultimate belligerence is to start another front against India, which everybody in the army will, support. He is now testing the waters for Afghanistan because Afghanistan, they have an excuse. They have the GTP. By saying that this is Kharij al-Hindustan doesn't make them, they can't prove that India is anywhere there. But he is trying to create that narrative. And from what little, on social media, etc., there is resentment amongst the army. Because the army, when they go back home, especially the Jawans, when they go back to the villages, they have to face a huge amount of humiliation. Because the people in the villages and in the towns say, "Ab kar kya rahe ho? Your job is to the protection of the country. Why are you interfering in the economy?" और आपने economy में interfere करके क्या तीर मार लिया? Prices have gone up. Even before this Middle East crisis, prices had gone up tremendously. Things were not available. People could either pay school fees or pay the electricity bill. So there's a lot of resentment. And the more the army has got identified with the state, with running the state, the more flack is coming. And then there is the Imran Khan factor. The worry that ultimately, in desperation, India factor is there. This fellow could even bump off Imran Khan. Engineers in such a that the attention gets diverted towards Imran Khan. There'll be unrest and all that, but they think that they will manage that. But attention will get diverted. Internal unrest. Again, they can tell Saudis, look, we can't send any forces because, we have got internal problems, TTP hai, post Imran Khan, we have to manage the situation and things like that. So he is getting more and more desperate because, he's wanting a hard state, unity of command, everything under him. It's just not working. It can't work. It's only a democracy which can hold a country like Pakistan together because there are so many pulls and pressures and only politicians can manage it. A Fauji who thinks straight, left and right, black and white, uske liye bada mushkil hai. And this man doesn't seem to have developed the he has cheap cunning. He has low level petty, but he doesn't have the statesmanship qualities which can understand the problem, the mountain of a problem that Pakistan is facing and how to get it. So in this desperation, he can do something very desperate.
How do you think the US will start looking at it, sir, going forward? And how do you think, does he have any leverage left with Trump? Or is it that he gets removed, some other guy comes and he goes and says, sir, don't worry, sir, I will figure it out, sir. Which is what happens every time. Musharraf, when it became this thing, one other general went to America and did sir, and they removed Musharraf after that.
Yeah, but I think, Trump is totally transactional. मैं तेरे को लंच पे बुलाया, तू मेरे लिए ये कर. अच्छा, Pakistan backed out of the Gaza force also. They are now backing out of Iran. They are now backing out of supporting the Saudis. So then Trump says, why do I need you? Oil you don't have, minerals tere ko lage nahi. So why do I need you? And why have I gone and jeopardized my relations with India? For your sake. Nobel Prize mujhe mila nahi. So, So what use are you? I don't think that they will be able to continue fooling President Trump for very much longer. One angle is there. This Bitcoin. Now, that one angle, if, I don't know, I don't know the mechanics of how it works, how well it is doing, but if those other guys, this Kushner and the other guy, his advisor's son, if they are involved, if they are making money, that's a different ballgame. I don't know much about that, so I can't predict or can't comment on it. But otherwise, why do you think Tulsi Gabbard would have named Pakistan? The specific reason that they were mentioned Pakistan shows that this is the warning, or probably the final warning to Pakistan. Sudharja, you better do what you promised you will do at that lunch, and what you haven't done in the last 1 year.
One can only imagine what he promised.
He would have promised, Sarji, jo chahida tusi kaho. Asi tode tabedar hain, tusi, you just tell me what you want.
Same repeat of Musharraf. Oh yes, sir, we will, sir. Don't worry, sir. ये बड़ा हर 2 मिनट में सलूट मारता था ना Musharraf जॉर्ज बुश के सामने. to just do this all the time. It was like that. And George Bush was very, all what a stand-up guy and this and that. You remember that those days, sir? I mean, it was all that we saw in the media was what a stand-up general, what a stand-up guy, what a smart guy, what a this, what a that, all that nonsense.
Musharraf did one other thing. Whenever he visited the US or whenever a foreign delegation was coming, he would meticulously or suddenly, miraculously arrest an Al Qaeda figure and
He
present
also
it to
doing
the.
the same thing. He's doing the same thing.
इससे एक ही पकड़ा है ना जो
ISIS
21
का
का
एक वो
ISIS का
पकड़ा है और एक और पकड़ा है सर अभी recently he's got I forget the guy's name. The guy is
हाँ.
not like that high up in the game, and they've said it's not very high up in the game. They've just
But Musharraf at least got him arrested. Khalid bin Sheikh,
yeah.
People like that. So that Musharraf, I think, was one step ahead.
My last question, sir. The jihad, ठीक है, these religious scholars and this and that, it's not touched them as of now. This war has not touched them personally or in their madrasas and this and that. What if it does? अभी जो border belt में madrasas हैं, neither the Afghan touch them nor the Pakistani army touches them. जितनी मर्जी लड़ाई हो रही होती है, it's all done away from those madrasas. It's never done there. You and I both know those are very, tricky areas. What if something happens to them, sir?
Yeah, if one of the bombs strikes a madrasa and kills about. You see, TTP started because Musharraf attacked the Lal Masjid in Islamabad, and bulk of the students were from FATA, from the tribal areas. That's why the TTP was formed way back in 2007. Here also, if one of the madrasas is attacked, given how cockeyed the Pakistan Air Force is, they could well bomb one of the madrasas instead of one of the hideouts. And this is where Fazlur Rahman is going to become very important. You see, the madrasa students, both in Balochistan and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Fazlur Rahman has a lot of influence, if not control, over the students. And they're all disciplined cadres and follow him. So if he were to give the order ever, but he also has many, skeletons in his cupboards, and the army knows how to press those buttons. But in case there is a mass casualty attack on one of the madrasas, then all stops are out. That will be a very major development. So I think this you see, when you follow jihadis, when you inculcate and you educate them, you are sitting on a ticking time bomb, because you never know at what stage a line can be crossed and they will erupt. And this is what the problem with Pakistan is going to be.
I think I'll have to catch up with you a little sooner than once in a month, sir, because the way things are going, we'll have to get your insights a little more. Because this is, I mean, I never thought it'll be so fast. I've been saying Pakistan is next, Pakistan is next. Right? America is not going to spare him in this and that. But it's come.
Are you very good in Asint? Track the tankers coming in to Karachi carrying oil and gas. My understanding is they need 2 tankers a day, because they don't have storage capacity.
They don't. Their oil tanks are all rusted. It's in bad condition.
So they have to receive, ship to the refineries. They have 2 refineries, refine them. And if there is a shortfall in that, if there is a disruption on that, and you see about 80% of their oil comes from the Strait of Hormuz. A longer disruption over there, and there's no way that China or and even Russian crude, they can't do anything with. They can't refine it. It's a heavy crude, which Indian refineries can, or some other refineries can, but Pakistani refineries can't.
Oh, past 2 days they're spreading that news, na? Oh, Russia se tel aa raha hai. And हमारी media भी, they've been running around. Oh, there Russia, Pakistan is getting Russian. Man, what do they do with it? They can't even put it in their bloody I mean, what will they do with it? Literally sit and utaro aarti? What is that? I don't know. It's just, yaar, dekh
They
to
will,
lo, they can't even.
sense is they will run out of fuel very quickly, because a lot of it they're going to preserve for converting into jet fuel for fighter engines and for strategic reserves. Something is cooking there, so also keep a track of that.
Let's see, sir. It's going to be, I mean, and it'll explode actually. I'm looking at one thing that Pakistan will just, the situation in Pakistan is just going to go boom, and it'll be chaos after that. It'll be very difficult to control. It's not going to be one place, it starts up like this, that. It's just going to be all at once because these guys have no clue how to control it. Thank you, sir, for that insight. It's always a pleasure catching up with you and learning from you. To my audience, I'm sure they will also really enjoy listening to your views. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Adi. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank
Great
you.
fun.
And
Okay.
guys, please like, subscribe, and share this with your friends and family. And of course, don't forget to support the channel. Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.